What is going on? I'm N64 Josh. This is Gamers in Karts getting interviewed. I got my good buddy Rust Belt Kid joining me tonight. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm ready to race some Mario Kart. I'm ready to talk about your history with Nintendo. So, shall we just dive right in here? You want to kick it off for us? Where did it all start?
Let's do it. It's funny. I've actually been thinking about this over and over and over and over again. Honestly, it started with NES for me, but the weird thing with NES was I didn't have one. So I actually had to go to my buddy's house and play NES, which meant that for anybody that can think back when they're a kid, imagine that friend that lives kind of close, but you have to ride your bicycle and you have to go up this long, big old hill. So I had to ride up this big old hill that was, I swear it felt like it was 5 miles long back then, but in reality, it's only like a quarter mile.
Right.
So I had to ride my small little bike that was like 5 times my size because I'm small up this hill just to play NES.
I love it, dude. I love it. It's funny you say my buddy, my best friend growing up, it was the same kind of thing. Like he lived up the hill from me. So I had to say, I mean, it felt like it was forever to get up there, especially before having a mountain bike, like just on the old BMX. But
I think I had like a little like mountain bike forever, and finally convinced my grandparents to buy me like a cool bike, which all that really meant was like a cheap Huffy that they bought some thrift store or something. Who knows where it came from?
Right. I llove it. So what games did you play at your buddy's house that you had to travel uphill both ways to get to?
So like it's now I can't help but laugh. But no, I always would. My friend's name was Josh too, which was kind of funny. But he would get super mad because back then he was super into like Zelda and like anything in that realm. He always wanted to play, and I just wasn't a big fan of that stuff back then for some reason. I would go up there and simply beg him to play Tecmo Super Bowl over and over again.
Nice.
And which was like, in reality, probably one of the most fun games I've ever played, but not that good of a game. I mean,
Right.
and being a native of Ohio, for a long time, I would always pick the Browns, and we would still stink, even though they were halfway decent back then. So eventually I learned. Now, I don't know if this is true. Somebody might be able to point it out. Who knows? But I swear, if you had Bo Jackson, you could literally pound down on that A button over and over and over again, and I swear he ran faster than everybody else.
Oh,
it
dude,
didn't matter
full
what
on.
you did.
There's videos.
Yeah.
There's videos on YouTube. You can literally run back and forth the entire field, back and forth, and no one can catch him. Like sweep right. That's all you needed. Sweep right, Bo Jackson, game over. Like that's the easy button.
And I finally figured that out, so I would use him every time, and eventually my just get mad, and he hid Tecmo Super Bowl. I don't think he really hit it. I think he actually threw it away. Like I just think he was like, "No, we're not playing this ever again."
Poor guy. Poor guy. So, any other memorable games with him, or?
Yeah, like over time, I would watch him. Like I would sit there and literally watch him play Zelda, but I honestly don't remember. I know he went back and forth between both of the games, Adventure of wow, I'm gonna get eaten alive for this. Adventure Link or Zelda, which have back and forth between the two.
You should say the Adventure of Zelda. It's linked to the Adventure of Zelda.
There you go. Like he would go back and forth between them. I never knew the difference back then because I just didn't pay attention. Like my attention span as a kid was like I wanted to play sports. Anything that was sports related, I was like, oh, let's play it. Like it just at that point in my life, I don't know. I would love watching people play those things. Just like now, Octopath. Love watching people play it. I still haven't played it though. So we, obviously Tecmo Super was real, like Tecmo was real big, but of course, Mario. Like, I mean, literally Mario Brothers, Mario 2, Mario 3. Like, we would play them all over and over and over again. Never did we ever finish. We never beat it. It was just one of those things where we would stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning, and if we weren't playing NES, we were playing with Ninja Turtles in his bedroom. That was my life as a kid.
I love it, dude. I love it. You know what? I was no different. Like, I didn't beat Super Mario Brothers 2 until like much later on. Same with 3. But man, like, I own 2. I think part of my problem trying to beat that game as a kid is I had 45 minutes, right? We've talked about that on numerous episodes. Like, so I didn't have a ton of time to play games, but like, I remember like finally beating a certain Mouser or whatever. I think that was his name. The cool mouse with the glasses, and then like,
oh yeah,
getting to the 3-headed snake and just the different boss fights in those games. Like, I remember like, those moments of like, yes, I finally beat like World 6 or something. I remember getting stuck in one world where it was just a room full of pipes and you had to guess the right one to be able to move on. And I remember going down all of them and I'm like, I can't figure this out. I remember that night. I remember that day I finally was like, okay, I'm going to do this. It took me like 40 minutes to get there. I get done. My mom's like, turn it off. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I just need,
I have 5 more minutes. Like, just leave me alone.
Yeah, but nope. So yeah, that definitely played a part in my lack of game completion. But yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah. Like,
totally.
Even now, when the other day I put in Super Mario, or I put in Mario Brothers, and I even said something to my wife about it. I said, "Oh, okay, I can. I'm sitting here on level 2. Like, I literally can go up top, go all the way down, get to the 4th level, and just go from there." But for some reason in my mind, I'm like, no, I need to play the full game. I need to play level by level and beat the whole game. Like, I can't use my cheat. I can't use the cheat anymore. I'm not 6 years old anymore. I have to beat the whole game. And I still have yet to beat the whole game.
The Warp saved me as a kid. That's one of the games that I did play all the way through because, I could learn from 1-2 to 4-1 to 4-2 to 8-1 and then learn the patterns, and so that was the saving grace of that game for me. But so any other like favorite NES games?
Honestly, no. Like, NES, although I played it a lot, I was very limited to what I played because, like I said, I didn't have one. My buddy had it, and I spent more time, other than those few games playing together, I spent more time watching him play stuff. But I had a blast. Like, back then, I'm about 5, 6, 7 years old. For me, like, that was kind of my childhood. Like, I was just like, I'm going to my buddy's house. Like, give us some soda that we shouldn't be drinking and like, watch my buddy play video games all night. I didn't care.
Hey,
like,
right on.
That was my experience with NES.
Yeah. I got you. Did you guys do anything like Contra or Turtles, like Turtles 2, the arcade game, or anything like that?
Turtles will literally be the death of me. Like, that game, I don't know what, I mean, I know some people love it. Other people have just had a love-hate relationship with it. It'll be the death of me because I just never played it. I wasn't good at it. That's just simple. I wasn't good at it for some reason. I would, like, actually, now that we're thinking about it, I would get mad. Like, I remember briefly in like 2nd or 3rd grade getting mad at Turtles, and I went with my grandmother. Like, we had this like place called like Video Safari, and I rented Skate or Die. And after that, I would just take Skate or Die up there all the time, and we would never play it. Like, I would always try to convince him to let us play it, but he would like, no, we're not putting this in. This game's crap. Even though I like that game for some reason.
The jousting in Skate or Die was so fun.
Yes.
Well, just so you know, I don't think anybody was actually good at that first Turtles game. So it wasn't until the 2nd and 3rd one that they really got good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh
then
man.
did you get a Super NES or did you go Genesis? What's next?
So my heart, my poor little heart, I wanted the Sega Genesis so bad. My aunt and uncle had a Sega Genesis. Um, Oddly enough, the house I live in now, which is two houses down from where I grew up, they had a Sega Genesis. I'm actually playing in the same play room that I played their Genesis in when I was a kid.
Oh, crazy.
Wanted one so bad. Like that's all I wanted. Come Christmas, and who knows how old I was at the time, and I'm pretty positive I can find the old VHS. And for all you youngins that don't know what a VHS is, please just look it up. But I could probably find the VHS where I was actually legitimately mad
No.
because Christmas morning came. I got my own TV for my bedroom. I'm like, okay, I got a TV. Like, there's got to be a Sega in here somewhere. It's got to be here somewhere. No Sega. Opened up all my presents. Nothing.
Oh, no.
My grandfather came in from the next room and was like, here you go. And I was like, yes, here it is. It's the Sega. I opened it up, and it's a Super NES. And back then, I was just so upset. Like,
Wait, this is the first time I've ever heard this story told in reverse. Every other person is like, all I wanted was a Super Nintendo, and I got the Genesis. You're the first one, like, out of every person I've ever interviewed and asked this question to. You wanted the Sega Genesis, and instead you got the Super Nintendo.
There just must be something wrong with me mentally or something. I just remember. I talk about it to my wife all the time, because she's significantly younger than I am. But like, I was legit just. I remember crying. I remember being upset. Of course, my grandmother like coddled me like a little baby, and my grandfather's like, "Oh, whatever, I'll just take it back." I'm like, "No, don't take it back. Like, I'll play it." But like,
I needed blast processing, Grandpa. Don't you understand? Blast processing.
but thanks to them, like legitimately, thanks to my grandparents doing that. And I remember them telling me like, "Oh, we did our research, a couple days after Christmas. Oh, we did our research, and everybody says, Nintendo's the way to go." So I finally like just said, "Okay, fine, I'll play it." Right. I remember not opening it up probably until like a week after Christmas. Like
Really?
I did refuse to play it. Like that's how upset I was. I was just an ungrateful little brat. And that's the easiest way to put it. I put it in, and that's when I fell in love with Yoshi.
That's That's where it happened, huh?
It literally, I was just like, I literally could play that game, like Super Mario World, like anything with Yoshi after that I was like, okay, let's go, let's do it, because I didn't get to experience for some of you that do know, like I just got Yoshi and Yoshi Cookie like for the first time ever. Like I didn't know who Yoshi was, like, and here I am. I put this cartridge in, and I'm like, what? It's like I was obsessed with dinosaurs as a kid, so like I'm like I put this in, and I'm like, dude, this is a dinosaur. Like, I love this. Let's do this. And just fell in love from there. Like,
this plumber rides a dinosaur? I'm down.
like,
I don't need blast
do it.
processing anymore, Grandpa. We're good. Yoshi's better than blast processing.
But it's just like, I still like, my Super Nintendo time, or my time under the Super Nintendo though, was still limited because my grandparents didn't have a lot of money, and those they raised me, so they didn't have a lot of money. I didn't get a lot of games, but if I asked for something, I would probably get it. But I didn't ask for a lot because I knew we didn't have a lot back then. And as a child, my grandparents spent a lot of money for me for school and because I wrestled. So my gaming for Super NES was still limited. Like I still remember playing a couple games here and there. And I know as I've slowly, like I just got the like NES Classic, and I was over at my friends playing the Super NES Classic, and I remember playing some of these games briefly, but nothing stands out except for literally with Mario and for some reason, and we were just talking about this briefly a little bit with the new Madden, but Madden 95 for Super NES. I would play Madden 95 for hours, and I figured it out. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Hail Mary, touchdown every time. To the point to where it would just not be fun anymore.
Right. Of course. Well, so did you get to play any of the other Yoshi games like Super Mario World 2?
Yeah, I got to play Super Mario World 2 very briefly. If I remember correctly, my buddy that had the NES also got a Super NES, and he had a lot of games. And Super Mario World 2 he brought over, and we would play it all the time, but he kind of just disappeared on me and just stopped coming over, stopped bringing games over. So like for the brief time that I got to play it, I played it a lot, but then when he disappeared, it was just kind of back to the old thing for Super NES.
Gotcha.
Like my Nintendo, my time with Nintendo was, I absolutely loved it, but it was very limited with games. But with those games, I loved every one of them. There was very rarely did I ever remember playing a Nintendo game, period, and being like, oh, I don't really like this.
I see.
And it was just, my Nintendo love has just come back. Because I'd get eaten alive anyway for all my Nintendo games I didn't get to play.
Oh, it's fine. But you're gonna get to answer the question. What are we gonna judge you for here? So we can just get right to it. You want to get right to it? What are we gonna judge you for not playing, Rust? Go ahead.
Practically, I mean, you name it. I probably haven't played it for Nintendo. There's just so many games I haven't played. By the way, I played Ice Climbers finally, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
For those that are their obsession with Ice Climbers, I finally did play it. We'll leave it at that. I played it.
What's your Power Glove rating of Ice Climber?
We're gonna give it a no Power Glove. I don't even think I'm gonna take time to put it on.
Oh, poor Ice Climber. All right, so I'm gonna put you through the gauntlet. You ready?
Yeah.
Super Metroid.
I've never played a Metroid game, period.
Judged. Link to the Past.
Love it.
Unjudged. Let's see. Well, because I get judged. Chrono Trigger.
I didn't even know what Chrono Trigger was.
Judged.
They brought it back out and everybody was like complaining because the new one was just like a port or whatnot, whatever. I didn't even follow the story because I was like, I had no clue what Chrono Trigger was.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, judge me all day long. I don't know what it was. I could not get into Final Fantasy.
Judged. Okay. Let's see. I guess we'll move on to 64. Mario 64?
Beat it.
Unjudged. Mario Kart 64?
I played a lot of Mario Kart 64. Like, that is the one that even now with Mario Kart on the Switch, my wife and I I just sit down and play it on the 64. That's why I want to buy like an old CRT TV just so it looks better. But simply one of my favorite games of all time.
Okay. Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time, let's just say, absolutely played so much Ocarina of Time. Love every bit of it. Problem with me never beating it was simply because once I literally was
never beat it. Judged.
But hey, as a kid, when you're like, oh, like back then I was like, oh, I get to play this flute and a horse comes, sweet. I'm just gonna ride around on this horse all day long. Like that's all I cared about. I just ride around. I didn't care about beating it. I was just like, I get to ride a horse. This is cool.
All right. Fair enough. GoldenEye.
GoldenEye simply will go down as one of my favorite games of all time.
Perfect Dark.
Never played Perfect Dark.
Judged. Oh, I'm judging you so hard right now. So hard. Turok.
Oh wow, Turok. Wow. I. It's funny because I never really think about it until somebody brings it up. But I just remember like playing it. I remember liking it, but I don't really remember a lot about the game. Like maybe that just says that it didn't leave that much of an influence on me, I guess.
Did you play the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one? I
played the first one.
The fifth one?
No, I played the first one. Just stack it on. Let's go.
The only thing you remember with the first one is fog, because it literally covered the entire game, so the draw distance wouldn't destroy the machine. Okay, but no Turok 2, so no Cerebral Bore for you. Judged.
No.
All right, so how about GameCube? What do you got? What'd you play?
I've never played GameCube. That is one that I'm working on right now.
Judged.
So
you're fully
N64
judged.
Is where I don't blame you. I'm judging my own self for never playing GameCube. I think GameCube came around. Like my wife's behind me right now, and she said, "Yeah, me." Wow, judgment from everywhere. So
you judged
when GameCube came out. GameCube was at that time in my life where Nintendo almost became. I was trying to be the adult. I was trying to be the big kid, the cool kid. And when GameCube came out, I just remember almost every one of my friends, none of them got a GameCube. I still talk to one kid today that got a GameCube, and even when we went to his house, we never played it. It was one of those things where when GameCube came out, every one of my friends was either into PlayStation or Xbox at that time, and I don't know how. I think it was because my best friend at that time had a PlayStation, and I just simply went to Xbox after that.
No Dreamcast? Sega Sunset's asking if it was no GameCube. Dreamcast, maybe?
No, it didn't even do a Dreamcast.
No,
okay. The kid, oddly enough, the kid that had the GameCube also had a PlayStation and an Xbox, and I remember he had a Dreamcast. Like, he was, the rich kid that got everything.
Oh, was his name Rock Redford?
Yeah, I think that was his name, if I remember correctly.
He was in last week's episode. Only had the most. He wins every Christmas now. Like, no one can even compete. But anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say he even said he was gonna. He's like, or when he mentioned the one Christmas, he's like, "Yeah, I'll one up that later."
Man, oh man. So Xbox, I'm guessing it's Halo what got you, or was it the sports games?
Nothing specifically. Like there wasn't a reason behind like, oh, I want the Xbox because of this or anything like that. Halo was huge. Let's just face it. Halo turns on and you just hear that sound and it's just automatically connected to me. I don't know what it was. I mean, it did it for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
But nothing specifically on Xbox made me be like, oh, this is why I want to support Microsoft. This is why I want an Xbox. It was just one of those things where kind of like my weird obsession with dinosaurs and fell in love with Yoshi. Xbox was just one of those things where I was like, okay, all my friends have PlayStation. I need to be different. Let me get an Xbox. Oh, hey, look, it's black and neon green. So that's cool. So I convinced my grandparents to buy me an Xbox, and it was just downhill from there. I mean, I played Xbox. I mean, I'm still playing Xbox today. I never had a PlayStation. Not once did I ever even think about buying a PlayStation.
No judgment here.
I played a lot of Metal Gear because of PlayStation, but it was one of those things where I only played Metal Gear when I went to friends' houses, or I only played like certain skating games when I went to friends' houses. Like I didn't even play a lot of skating games for the Xbox. When Halo hit, it was just Halo, Halo, Halo. But there's so many Xbox games that I played that I still regret everything's backwards compatible now, but I still regret getting rid of everyone. Even though I know I'll probably never put one in again, the Xbox came out at the time where I was just old enough to truly appreciate and understand what I was doing and what I was playing, and not just playing a game to play a game.
Oh, I see. So, I mean, do I dare ask? Did you then get a Wii?
No, we'll just jump forward on the Nintendo. We're just gonna
so
a big gap in my life here.
So there's no gap. I'm guessing you went to 360. You loved Gears of War. You loved all the Halos. You probably loved Call of Duty, and you loved Madden still. Yeah.
Loved Madden.
Yes.
Never played Gears of War.
Judged.
Loved Halo.
Oh my gosh. Never played Gears of War.
I'm staring at every Gears of War game in front of me because I just bought every one of them.
Oh my goodness.
That was the thing. My love for video games, period, which I just don't know what I was just doing there. I apologize. But my love for video games, period, really just kind of took a turn this last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
I've always loved video games. I always got the chance to play a lot of different games, but Gears for some reason, I don't even remember really when they came out. I remember hearing about them. I remember knowing they were there, but I don't even remember a lot of my friends playing Gears. Like, it was mostly Halo, and then it just went straight to Call of Duty.
Do you remember by chance the Mad World Gears of War ad that came out?
I actually just saw that the other day watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And I actually can sit here and say that I remember it being out.
Yeah.
I don't remember, obviously my reaction to it now was completely different, but I don't really truly remember seeing it. I like, for some reason there's always that thought in the back of your mind where you're like, I know this, like I've seen this somewhere.
Sega Sunset says, I'm guessing around that time you were mostly into girls.
Jeez. Yeah. I mean, we could say that. I wrestled my whole life, so I wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend during wrestling season. So, during the summer, I skated. Like, I skateboarded all the time during the summer. And being in Ohio, like, winter hits, it was like, oh, well, fall and winter's here. It's wrestling season. So I didn't even get to play that many video games during that time of the year when you're home more. And then in the summer, I skated a lot. So when we would play video games, we would go out, we'd skate all day, we'd come home, and then we would play video games. And it's the reason why, like, I played a lot of Tony Hawk. Like, a lot of Tony Hawk.
Okay.
Because that's what we would do. We'd go skate and we'd be like, oh, let's go get taco, come home and play skating. Let's do everything we can't do in real life. Gotcha.
Chat wants to know, what about any Resident Evil? Did you play any Resident Evil games?
I played a lot of Resident Evil. Like, I put Resident Evil in the same category as Metal Gear. I never actually owned any of them. I played Resident Evil and Metal Gear when I would go to friends' houses. And so I never had the opportunity to sit down and, like, really enjoy them and get the full story and try to beat them. It was just tidbits here and there. It's like, yo, you're at your buddy's house and he's halfway through the game and I have no clue what's going on, but this looks really cool.
Judged. Okay, so let's fast forward to present. What are you playing now? What are you loving now? What's going on?
About 2 years ago, that's where we'll leave off present at 2 years ago.
Perfect.
About 2 years ago, I had my Xbox One, and it was about the time that the Advanced Warfare, the Advanced Warfare Xbox One box came out. So it was about a year after Xbox One came out, and I waited because I didn't really know a lot. I just was like, hey, I want that 1 terabyte. And I loved Call of Duty. So I was like, oh, I'll just wait. I'll wait for that 1 terabyte. I'll wait for the Call of Duty box. And I did. And it was kind of downhill from there because you had, at that time, it was you had two Marines living in a house together, and all we would do is go to work, come home, play video games. That's all we did.
Okay.
So that is where all of a sudden I started to appreciate games for what they were and appreciate the stories and actually get out of a game what I think a lot of these developers want. Because, as much as I played so many games as a kid, some I can remember, some I can't, I don't think I appreciated them back then because my focus really wasn't there. Like, I had a group of friends that, we all wrestled, and that's what our life was. So we didn't focus on video games as kids, and I'm not gonna say I regret not being able to truly appreciate more games as a child and appreciate them for what they are, because now I'll be 33 next month, and when I picked up that Xbox One, it changed everything. I got back into Xbox massively. I didn't really go back and play a lot of the old games because, as I'm learning now, your backlog just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you'll never catch up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But now I'm married, and I have a little bit more time, and my wife enjoys games. She enjoys watching me play games. So I'm able to sit down and relax and actually take it in for what it is. And for those within the awesome community that you've built that have learned to and got to know me over the last couple months alone, I went straight from Xbox One, and I got the Xbox One S simply because I was lucky enough and my wife got it for me, and it was way cheaper than the Xbox One X.
Right.
So, and I have this thing for white. Like, although our living room, it does not look modern and white, it's kind of like rustic looking, I still love the white Xbox One S. I think it looks slick, it looks neat, it looks clean, it looks perfect. So I'm not going to buy an Xbox One X now, but this last year, so at the beginning of this year is when I finally decided to make a big leap and say, okay, backwards compatibility is a thing. I don't need to worry about my Xbox 360 anymore. Let's get rid of it. So I finally, up until the last couple of years, was the first time I actually owned a Sony product. So I was able to get a PS4 kind of on the little bit cheaper, and I bought it simply because for baseball. That's all I bought it for. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to play baseball on it.
Okay.
And I realized real quick that baseball, yeah, it's fun. It's a great game. MLB's show is fantastic for what it is, but I really didn't play it. I played it, hard for 2 or 3 weeks and then just sat there. So I took that, the Xbox 360, and I went and traded them in, and I got a Nintendo Switch. And it was the best investment I ever made in my life.
I mean, since we've gotten to know you, like, you've picked up at least 4 3DSs. Is that right?
Oh wow! If it was 4, I'd probably be divorced right now.
Maybe 3. Was it 3? I don't know. It was not a small number. I remember that.
I picked up, yeah. So I went from not playing a Nintendo product since the N64
right.
to buying a Switch to going out, like, drove my wife all over Northeast Ohio simply to find a Yoshi 3DS, to find out that it was one of the older ones. It's really not that good.
Yep.
To taking her back to the store that same day to buy a 2DS XL. So I picked up the Pikachu 2DS XL, which is funny because I never played a single Pokemon game until recently.
Someone's judging you, not me.
Pokemon. Oh yeah, that's Pokemon was kind of in the same category as the GameCube for me. Like, it kind of came out at a point where I was like, oh, it's a little childish. I'm not into it. And now I'm like, oh, it's Saturday morning. I'm gonna go back and watch Pokemon because this is super But yeah, so I picked up the Pikachu 2DS XL, and which is what I used mainly to play any of my DS games on now. But of course, they said, "Oh, hey, look, let's." Nintendo's like, "Oh, well, here's another 2DS, and here's a Zelda one. Like, here, come out and just buy this one." And of course, I had to have it. So now it sits behind me in the corner on a shelf on display.
Right.
And I've actually I told Nightcrawler the same. He had mentioned about an idea for his that he was going to do. And I pretty much told him, I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to steal your idea too. I'm probably never going to play that 2DS XL, but I'll probably go ahead and put every Zelda game I can possibly put on it. And it'll just be like, that'll be the Zelda 2DS. Like,
Zelda
if I
machine.
play it, it's only going to be Zelda games.
Oh, nice. Nice. You can put a lot on there too. You got, put quite a few Zelda games on there. So, what are you playing on Switch right now? What are you loving?
On the Switch alone. So, Judgment all day long. Game of the year. Shaq Fu. Just want to see it. I'm going to say it out now.
We're done.
Shaq Fu.
Hey, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. Okay. Shaq Fu. Wow.
No,
Judged.
I had to say it because I'm actually looking at him right now, and I was like, oh, Shaq Fu's right there. Got to mention it. But no, the Switch is. I'm loving the Switch simply because I didn't get to play a lot of Nintendo games. Like a lot of these games, even if I'm playing some older games on some of the older Nintendo systems, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's fun. I get to experience them for the first time. But obviously, the Switch is, it's the new thing. It's awesome. Looks beautiful. It's portable. I can take it with me. I can put it in the dock. It doesn't matter. Like, I love playing the Switch. And because I didn't get to play a lot of Nintendo games, things like Donkey Kong Country Freeze, like port, not port, whatever. I love it. I got to play it for the first time. Like, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I liked it. Oh, yeah. I realized really quick, I'm not going to try to collect everything because I'll probably drive my head through the wall.
Right.
Because there's just no way for me to collect everything. I just don't have the patience for that. I will say that one of my favorite games on Switch was Kirby Star Allies. I don't know why I loved it so much. I think it was just one of those things where it was like, yeah, I know it had a lot of complaints that it was almost too easy. But for me, it was one of those things where it was like, hey, I just worked 12 hours. I don't want to think too much. Yep. I threw Kirby Star Allies in, played it for an hour or two, and loved every bit of it. It was just an experience that I haven't had since I was a kid. I just shut my mind off, played a game, and enjoyed it. And not to top it off, the final boss in that game I thought was fantastic. I thought the artwork was amazing. I mean, everything about that final boss I thought was just beautiful.
That was a really, really fun boss fight for sure. I do want to backtrack a little bit on the whole DS thing because you had your wife return the Yoshi 3DS that you got the Pikachu one, and then she went back and got you the Yoshi one again, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you still had the Yoshi one to your collection, which is super cool, being as you're super into Yoshi. So I just had to make sure that was known because that's a pretty killer story. So
yeah, technically I would have 3 of them. Yes.
I told you guys it wasn't a small number for the amount of DSs, right? So let's talk a little bit about what you're getting ready to kind of launch something. You're working towards something with your branding being Rust Belt. Is it Rust Belt Gaming? Is that what you're going with?
I actually finally decided on Rust Belt Geeks. Rust Belt Gaming, oddly enough, was a thing, I guess, at one time. And technically in the social media, Rust Belt Gaming still has like a Twitter and stuff. And I tried to reach out to them because they haven't posted anything in years.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, whatever they were doing, it changed because trying to find them, trying to get a hold of was. I tried for about a month, and it was just there was nothing. I got nothing. It was crickets. So I sat down for a couple days and thought about it. Rust Belt, for those that don't know, I was born and raised in Northeast Ohio. Northeast Ohio is considered part of the Rust Belt. You can argue that all day long, but it's one of those things from Detroit to Buffalo. It's the Rust Belt. It's a very very blue collar, steel working kind of town. I don't care if people know, but I live in Canton, Ohio. So outside of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, that's about the only thing here. It's not that big of a city. It's very small. It's very blue collar. So Rust Belt has always been kind of my thing. It's almost become a nickname or my own. It's my an alter ego identity. I don't know. You can call it
your brand.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's now becoming my brand.
Okay.
It's something that's been around for a long time, and I've decided, hey, I'm gonna make this my brand. I'm gonna make this who I am. This is gonna be me. And so I thought about it, and I came up with Rust Belt Geeks simply because, although I love video games, like a lot of us, there's a lot of pop culture stuff that I just love. Like, those that don't know, like, I'm a big Green Lantern fan. I've always been a Green Lantern fan. I read Green Lantern comics still today, even though they're horrible right now. But just pop culture alone. So I decided on Rust Belt Geeks for that reason.
Okay.
And what I'm planning on doing, I had a hiccup with Amazon, ordered some stuff to start streaming. So I had to fix some stuff with Amazon and reorder a bunch of stuff. So right now I am in the process of setting up. My lovely wife has given me permission to take the guest bedroom out of our house in perspective and turn it into a kind of pop culture gaming room.
Nice.
So that's what we're getting started on right now. We're going to turn that into pretty much where I'm going to do everything. I'm doing this more for myself because I've always, I mean, I'm on here. I'm very friendly. I'm very, when I meet people, I talk way too much when I meet people, but at the same time, I'm very shy. And ever since I did get out of the Marine Corps, I kind of go to work and come home, go to work, come home. I have a few friends, but I kind of seclude myself, and it's just me and my wife, and that's about it. So I'm using this to kind of put myself out there more and to have fun doing it. Cool. And I did stream a couple times there, and yes, my internet is not that great. Apparently the streams went fine, but I had a really hard time with the one time I did have some people in chat, but I could barely keep up with any of it because it was not so much the stream was lagging, but everything was so delayed that by the time I would see anything, they were already gone because I simply didn't respond or whatever it was, but they were already gone. So we looked into it, and luckily enough, we have a better internet company here. So we have it set up for them to come upgrade our internet. It's not that good Seattle internet, that's for sure. I do miss that living out there. But it's definitely it's good enough for Northeast Ohio, that's for sure. So we're in the process of doing that and getting some other stuff situated. But I'm hoping we go on vacation here at the end of the month. So I'm hoping that when I come back on September 10th, that I will be pretty much going full force on it and actually having a schedule for streaming and be able to actually plan more streams out rather than just doing it periodically now.
I see. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this thing up, but tell everybody where they can find what you're going to be doing.
Yeah. So I'm on Josh's Discord. So if you're just seeing this for the first time, definitely hit up Josh's Discord for N64 Josh. I'm on there as Rust Belt Kid. Same with Twitter. If you're on Twitter, on Twitch, my Twitch is Rust Belt Kid. Whether you search Rust Belt Kid or Rust Belt Geeks, you'll find it both on Twitter because I'm the only one that hashtags anything with Rust Belt Geeks. So, and if you do anything with Rust Belt Kid, there's like 3 people graffitied, and then there's me. So it's not hard to find me. I'll be on all those. I mean, come join me. Ask me questions. If you have any suggestions, just hit me up. I'm down for any suggestions because, like I've said here today, like my gaming history, although kind of short in a way, is stacking up pretty fast. So I have a lot of games to go back and play and a lot of experiences to be had. And to be honest with you, I'll say it right now, Josh, if it wasn't for the community that you've built, I probably wouldn't be here because I'd probably still just be playing a couple sports games and that's it.
You didn't say that so your wife could hear, right? Because I don't want her coming after me.
Oh, no, she can hear everything. At this point, she doesn't care.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, all the stuff that people say on YouTube so that they can, keep their channels growing. Thank you again for watching. These are so much fun. If you're in the Discord and you want to join me for one of these, hit me up and, we can make it happen. Next episode's going to be Nightcrawler, who is also my co-host on the Smash Bros. Cast. So you guys are going to get to know him a little bit. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Later.